This is Everybody Does It. My name is Yanjetti.
And I'm Jorge.
And today we have a really special guest. I'm so excited to talk to Cricket. Cricket has a podcast about unlocking your jealousy and getting a handle on jealousy. And I love this topic because we get asked all the time, how do we handle jealousy? I've had to deal with a lot of jealousy issues in this open relationship, and I'm still unlearning jealousy. So I have a lot of questions. And Jorge's got his little relationship with jealousy as well from time to time. Not as bad as me. But yeah, Cricket. So tell us about what do you do in terms of like helping people with their jealousy, or what led you to this work? I guess it's a two-part question.
So for me, I always loved people. I always loved like relationships, to see people how they adapt or how they change their values based on who they are with. For me, this was very important, to see how they lose some of their values just to adapt or just to fit in that relationship. So that mesmerized me since I was like little. Like I cannot even explain. I was watching my parents first, like how they fight, how they, how they are not themselves. And then I opened my relationship in like 2019. So I was like, oh, this is a new world of relationships, which nobody knew. No, not majority of people doesn't know about this. Or they know, right, but they are misinformed. So I feel like my purpose in this world is to let people know that there are alternatives of relating, however they want to shape them. So I feel like these people who are like not happy in some relationships, I feel like I can be there for them to guide them to whatever it works better for them.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's amazing.
And it's true. A lot of people might know about it but are misinformed. And I feel like I am kind of one of those people where I knew people were having different kind of relationships, but I never really seen an example of it where I was from. Some people might have talked down on living like that. So right, I kind of felt like it wasn't really realistic for me to kind of pursue something like that. So I never really sought the right information to really educate myself or anybody around me that I cared about, to kind of like expand my life to where it is now that we have looked into that information. So did you at one point struggle with jealousy yourself?
Yes, I did. I was a very jealous person.
I was like, thank God she said yes, because she's like, no, I would have been like, oh.
Yes. So I was very jealous, and I apologized to all my boyfriends in the past. Like they went through something which they didn't subscribe to. They didn't subscribe for. So I was jealous in my monogamous relationships, but when I opened my relationship, I stopped being jealous. Like for me, it was like, if I can have and you can have it as well, I don't mind. But if you have it and I don't, I get upset. So that was for me that's how I saw the jealousy at some point. I was like, okay, you have it, I have it, we are all happy, but if I stop having it, I don't like it. So I want it back. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Can you give us an example of a scenario that you had experienced in the past where you were very jealous, and then kind of tell us how you would handle that differently now?
The most recent experience with jealousy which I had was, so I opened my relationship in 2019, and then in 2021 I met a girl, and then I started being like kind of monogamous with her because she expected me to not do nothing with other people. And then I realized that she was jealous. So I was like mirroring her jealousy somehow. So I was like, okay, we are acting like this. She was very Latina. So I was like, okay, let's see what we saw in telenovelas. Let's do this. And then she started being very jealous. So I was like, okay, so I will be the same. Because I don't know why, I just felt like if she will be with somebody else, she will not be with me. So I got scared. So I was like, okay, so it's either me or somebody else. So how I acted in that summer was not something which I'm proud of. If I would turn back the time, I would just not be with her, to be very fair with you, because I don't think our values were not even close to reality, or not even close to some similarity there. Yes.
So what kept you in that relationship then?
My fantasies, I guess, in my head, because I was like, oh my god, she's like my, it's me, my boyfriend. She's there as well. She was not like she didn't like men, but I was like, oh my god, this is the perfect family. We will live together forever. So I created images in my head, and then I was like, okay, this is amazing. Let's do this. I don't know. I don't want to lose this or something. So I was doing anything I could to. I was like stepping on my values like every day. I was like, oh, I'm very poly, but I will be mono for her. Don't worry. I will figure it out. So because of my fantasies, I just got blinded by the reality. The reality was not like that. She didn't like me. The idea of me being my real self. She wanted me to be something else. So that was. So yeah, I think the fantasies was something which kept me there to, since you invested some time and money and some, I don't know, patience in a relationship, it's very hard to let it go. It doesn't matter how long it is.
Yeah, no, I believe that a lot of people in monogamous relationships, including myself in the past, I have also really want to see this fantasy that I have, like, I've been working on this for years. You know what I mean? And now I want to really see it come to life. So I'm going to make this person, like, mold him into this perfect version of what he can fulfill in my fantasies. And it is the expectation that lets you down. And Jorge actually said something to me the other day which stuck with me when you said that expectation is resentment in the making. And it's like, wow, that is so true, because a lot of times that I've expected people to be a certain way or to accept me a certain way, I have just been in the end resentful of them. um, that's really vulnerable that you said that you really just saw yourself with this, like, woman that you could picture like a happy life with, and you were in love with the idea of who she could be in your fantasy. So it happens to the best of us.
I think I was more like in lust than in love.
Yeah.
Now, I don't feel like it was love. I don't think that's love. I don't want to believe that that's love, because that's very love. It's like a love with a lot of crying, and I don't think love is like that.
Right.
And we were always
No.
like, we kept saying to each other, oh, when we become toxic to each other, we will leave each other. And then we started being toxic and nobody wanted to leave. So we were like, okay, so I guess that's how it will go. So it's like, I think it's very hard to see, like, especially, like, for example, if you're driving your car, you will not see that your light is off. Like, somebody needs to tell you, hey, your light is off. So I had, like, my boyfriend who was, like, not telling me, but he was like, are you sure, like, this is what you wanted? Because you're crying every day. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is how love is. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you were with her and you were with your boyfriend at the same time?
Yes, we were like, me and my boyfriend were like a long distance relationship. He was at home and I was here in US. So yes. So when he came back, she thought that I will break up with him. She had this fantasy that it will be only us together, and at some point, to be honest, I was like, maybe the future is only me and her. Who knows? Maybe, So I was so blinded by her her imagination, that I was like, okay, maybe she's right. Maybe my boyfriend doesn't belong here. But then I was like, wait a minute, he didn't do nothing wrong. Like, why would you give up on somebody just because somebody says so? Right. So I started to wake up a little bit, and I was like, but I waited for her to break up with me for some reason. I was like, you know what? I will wait. I don't want to take this decision by myself. I'm very afraid of leaving workplaces and breaking up with people. I know why. It's like what the fuck,
Oh wait, did you work with her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
I know.
Yeah, you know that if you're breaking up with this person that you work with, like, it's the end of your job too. So, wow.
Yeah,
some really people can manage, but not everybody. I think they are mature enough to. And I believe in how do you call it? Cold turkey, you call it, when you break.
Yeah.
I really believe in that. Like, all my breakups, I went through them while practicing that. So for me, it works. Like, we don't talk, and I will be okay, and you will be okay. But if you see a person, it's like.
Yeah. So, is there an ideal vision for a relationship that you have in mind, or are you open to the possibilities of anything happening?
I I don't want to have like ideas, because I feel like if I have an idea about something, whatever comes along, I will need to say no just because I have an idea in mind already. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I take this experience however it is, and whatever I feel like, I will do, as long as the agreements in the relationship are, everybody knows about them and so on. But I would not have like an ideal thing, because it's, yeah, I don't think it works for me to believe in something and then I have to adapt. That person needs to adapt for, I don't know. It's not. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So, where did you look for guidance and information to expand your mind?
Mostly in Instagram. Like I'm following everybody and everything, and I think that's how we found each other as well. Because you like to be surrounded with. I mean, we like to be surrounded with people who believe in the same things, because they approve our beliefs, and that's like a community. Like that's how a
Yeah.
community is formed. Um, I actually started. I was doing like network marketing in like 2017. No, 2019. I was doing network marketing, and then I was meeting this guy online, like random. I was like, "Oh, I have an idea. Do you want to see it?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then this guy started telling me how he's in an open relationship and how he and his girlfriend and him, they're like doing this, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds nice. Let's forget about this idea which I'm about to tell you. Just tell me more about your relationship." Then we talked like for 2 hours about that. So I was so mesmerized. I was like, "What's happening?" So I can say that was the first person I found about this, like from a real person, because you always think they are there, but you don't know who, and you don't know if you will ever meet them. So yeah,
Yeah.
then I started reading a lot of books, so that worked a lot for me, like to see that there are other options, and
Definitely.
That
So
helps.
we're talking about community, and obviously we are from two different places in the world.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful accent. Where are you originally
Oh,
from?
thank you. I'm from Romania.
Okay, and is that where you are now?
No, I'm in Florida now.
Okay, she's in
Yeah.
Florida. All right, so
Palm Beach, you said, right? Or Palm
Palm
Bay?
Bay.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you've been traveling all around the world. What is the I mean, well, how I should say is, what are relationships like in Romania typically?
Good question.
I never thought about this, but I think we are very conservative in a way. Like you would rarely see, for example, two girls holding hands on the street and kissing, because we are like, okay, God didn't say about this. They didn't mention in the Bible this. So what's happening here? So I feel like a lot of old persons, like grandmas, grandpas, I feel like they believe in marriage. Even my grandma, she's always like asking me, when are you getting married? I'm like, I don't know about that. So I feel like whatever they saw in their parents, they want to repeat in Romania. So you saw your parents broken up, maybe you will get married and you will break up at some point. So I don't think most of the people see other options or other possibilities in terms of relating.
Right. Now, even here in America, we don't regularly see out in the streets people having all these different types of relationships. So it is really powerful for us to build this type of community on the internet, because this is where we find a lot of other couples that are doing
Yeah.
something similar to us or something completely different than what we see on the regular. Um, so definitely thank you for getting on here. First of all, we're looking to build that community and talk to more people. So, what are some things that you are looking to do in the future when it comes to trying to build awareness to these types of relationships?
Um, for me, I feel like I already decided to, whatever I believe in, to actually share it with the people. Like even if it's a reel or a post, like doesn't really matter. Like just to see or like to show people what I believe in, because I didn't usually share that in the past. Like I didn't feel like, it's not like I didn't feel comfortable, but I feel like right now there are so many things I want to share with people. I'm like, oh my god, how, when I'm going to tell everything. So I'm trying not to take
I
everything
know.
like it's there's. I feel like there are some people who are lost and they need guidance, and then we are there for them. So it's like I'm there. Like, did you want to
Yeah.
actually read this post and it helps you? Oh, it helps you. Okay, so follow or like put a heart there or whatever. I think there are so many people in like unhappy marriages or unhappy relationships, and they don't know how to get out of it, or they don't think there's a way out of it, so they just stay there. So that's,
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we go there, and we are like, okay, how can I help you, how can I serve you today? So yeah.
Love that.
Definitely.
You know what's crazy that you said that we're the helpers. Some people are lost, and it's because like I just feel we relate to that so much right now as really feeling like helpers because three of our best friends are going through divorces right now, and we put them all in like a group chat, and we're like, all right, we're gonna help you guys because I've been through a divorce, and Jorge's never been married or ever been divorced, but he's just a really good like listener and mediator, and he spreads a lot of love to anybody. He's like a little troll doll. So we got all our friends together, and it's been nice to feel like, wow, if we hadn't gone through all our hardships individually and as a couple, there would be no way that I could help you people right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I've been able to help myself, and he's been able to help himself and help each other. So now it's like we feel like, okay, we are ready to be the pioneers because we definitely feel like this is not talked about. People still think that we're crazy. People want to. We have a lot of haters, and it's just cool because we trigger people, and we knew we were gonna trigger people. Like when I'm like because we kept it quiet from like our friends, our family, social media for a while, right? For like a few months, and then finally we were like, when we go public and we announce that we're in an open relationship and we're gonna broadcast it, like there's gonna be so many people that are gonna be upset. And there has been, but there's been so much other people who have been like cheering us on and have been like looking at us and being like, oh my god, thank you so much, I needed this, me and my wife, we needed you guys. So you just never know who you're gonna help or whose life you're gonna touch.
Mm-hmm. I
So
agree.
I feel like I'm excited that you were one of the first people who reached out to us. Like because I went like earlier today. I was like, all right, let me start from the top to read all our messages, and then I wanted to do my my background check. I call it my little stalking
Mm-hmm.
because I was telling you, her name really is Cricket, and I think she's from Romania. Like I figured it all out. So but I don't know. What was I saying? I'm sorry. I told you I have ADHD. I just was like excited that you reached out first and you were like, hey, I love what you guys are doing and have fun with the haters. You said something like that. And I was like, no, she's great. Like, but people just judge and hate on what they don't understand.
Yes, and they also they have their own insecurities, and I try to not feel pity for them, but it's like whatever they say, they reflect on their fears. So for example, like when I was in a long distance relationship with my boyfriend, whenever at work somebody was like, oh, where's your boyfriend? I'm like, he's back in Romania. And they were like, he's not going to be a good boy there. And I'm like, my man is a free man, do you have any other questions? And they're like, okay, because if they would be in a long distance relationship, they will not be the good boys. So that's why I'm always like thinking whatever somebody tells me, they will do the same, or they will think the same if they will be me. So that's why I try to feel pity for them, even if it's not a good feeling, but it's like they don't know, so how can I judge them for not knowing? But yeah.
So does your family know about your relationship style?
My family?
Yes.
No.
And do you feel like that's just best to keep that, to yourself?
If I would have like a good relationship with my mom, or with my mom, that's it, or because my grandparents would never even understand what's happening. So if I would have a good relationship with my mom, I would not say it, I don't mind saying it, but I don't think it will help her, and I think it will start so many insecurities in her that I will not be able to control them or manage them. So I think it will, whenever the time will be, I don't mind saying. I know why I'm doing this. There's no turning back. So I'm open to answer their questions if they have some. any at some point.
I am with you because my family doesn't know either. I don't have a good relationship with my parents. It would, my mom, I would break her heart, and everything that my mom would know about her life would like dismantle, and I just don't have like the strength or the energy or the space to like do that for her. Because people ask me that too, like, does your family know? And I'm like, no, because it's better for them not to know. You know, if it ever comes to it, then I will tell them. But for now, they don't. It's fine. You know what I mean? And yeah, grandparents, hell no. Like they don't even. That would just break my grandmother's heart. I'm not doing that to her. You know, she already has to live with the fact that one of her daughters is gay, and she's the only. Actually, I don't even know if my grandmother knows. Actually, everybody in the family knows that like my one aunt is gay and living with a woman, and I don't think I don't think my grandma knows. I don't think anyone knows her. So it's just, yeah, they're them.
Yeah.
What is your dynamic right now with your boyfriend? Are you guys in other relationships? Are you dating other people? Like how do you guys live your life, I guess?
Currently, we are not. I don't have any other relationship, and he doesn't as well. But we talk a lot about people, like in a good way. Like we talk about. I mean, he's sharing with me who he likes, what he likes about those persons. Me as well. I don't mind sharing with him. So we are in a. You know how people think like polyamorous relationship are like a lot of sex, but it's not a lot of sex. It's like, okay, there is sex, don't get me wrong, but it's like a lot of talking. A lot of talking. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, are we talking again? Okay, let's do this. So
Yeah.
I like this because we never had this before. We never worked together. We started working together in last year, actually. So we started sharing like who looks good, who doesn't, who whatever. So I like this because we never had it before. Like it's something which we start trusting each other to not, because you don't know how the other person reacts. So we're like, okay, so I like this person. Oh, okay, I didn't know. I like her too. Okay, that's good. So yeah. But right now we don't have any relationships. Like I feel, but it's just a personal feeling. Like whenever I am in relationships, I cannot work on my relationship coach plan because I feel like I'm invested so much in the relationships and I don't have energy or time to do what I really need to do. But it's just a feeling because I feel like since I don't have any relationship, I started working, I built my website, I'm like crazy about this, so I have time and energy to do it.
I feel the exact same way. I haven't really been wanting to see anybody or date anyone. I told her, I was like, look, my phone is pretty dry for the most part. This last week, I've been more like in a manic stage, so I've been wanting to like talk to more people. But like, yeah, I'm same. I'm like, no, I kind of just want to be with myself. I just want to date myself. I want to figure what I want to do. I want to read. I want to write. Because as soon as other people enter the building, I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I want to spend a lot of time with this person. So yeah, I'm trying to control all that. Because it's a lot of like codependency too. Like realizing like how codependent we can become on other people to like fulfill us. So I'm like, no, Jenny, you need to learn to fulfill yourself before you try to come in here and try to be fulfilled by somebody else.
I have the same, which you said, like you start talking to people. Sometimes I have it as well. I'm like, oh my God, let's see who matched me today. So I'm like excited, But then I'm like, you know what? I don't want to meet these people. Maybe because it's not my way of connecting with somebody. I have to. That's why I like people at work because I just see them. I talk to them every day. I build something, and then I'm like, you're attractive. You know, so in like texting, it's very hard for me to be like, is this person worth 1 hour of my time? We will never know, So yeah.
The world will never know.
Do you guys meet people in like dating apps, or how do you meet the people?
So sometimes we meet people in person, and sometimes we've met them on dating apps. It's been a variety of totally different ways that we just come across random people.
Yeah.
But I think everyone is beautiful. I can definitely tell somebody's energy right away around someone if there's somebody that we want to engage with, and I feel like that's kind of a skill that you develop over time, especially with a relationship like this, to kind of like feel people's energy if they would even be interested in like hearing that. Or, you know, especially just us, like we're just trying to really focus on keeping our vibrations high and just allowing good vibrations in first. And if the sexual desire kind of shows itself, then we'll have that kind of conversation and be like, hey, do you want to pursue this? And we'll agree on it before we make a move.
Would two questions I have here. Now I started asking questions. Do you
Go ahead, yeah. So we can get to this part now where, you know, you said you had questions for us, and I appreciate you answering all of our questions.
That was great.
This is not going to be the first time that I want you on the podcast, by the way. Like, we have to have, like, now, like, an ongoing, I'm going to call you a friend now.
That's nice.
Especially because you're a Florida girl. And I'm like, yes, because we're always in Florida. So that's nice to have friends.
So would you, or did you, or are you dating people who are like not polyamorous?
So I have been with men who don't see themselves as polyamorous, and I've learned that that's not the way I can go. Like, it's really hard for me to now want to be with somebody who subscribes to the monogamy programming. And it's not that I wouldn't want to like be friends with that person. I just think like developing any type of like even a friends with benefits kind of situation would be kind of exhausting for me. Like, it would just be, and it would probably make things weird because we have this thing where it's important for us whoever we're seeing, sleeping with, whatever, has to respect what we're doing. They have to be okay with that. So I feel like monogamous people, like deep down inside, they wish that they could probably take you away from your partner. And I don't want to get that feeling. So yes, I've been with men, but like now we're just kind of looking for more people who are more on the open-minded. You don't have to label yourself as polyamorous, but you have to be okay with the idea of like, hey, we are in a relationship and we're not gonna leave each other for you or anybody else.
Yeah, I feel like the majority of solo people that we come across are curious, but don't really have the knowledge and education that we have kind of looked into.
I agree with this. Like, before, no, at the beginning of the opening of the relationship, like whenever I felt like a connection with somebody, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome, let me teach him how it is, or let me teach her how things are going. But then I realized, like, monogamous people usually they agree to something which they don't know, so they are like, yeah, sure, they will say yes to anything to have you, and then they will be like, oh, wait a minute, she still has a boyfriend. I'm like, yeah, but we talked about this 2 months ago. What changed? And for example, I took a decision in the summer when my second girlfriend broke up with me. I realized that some people, if they cannot have you in the way that they want, they choose to not have you at all. And that for me means you don't like me. It's like you didn't like me that much or enough to have me once per week, for example. So I feel like they are not that developed, as you said, in this kind of openness, and I don't think people can change in this for us. They can change for themselves, but I don't think somebody will change just because they agree with something at the beginning.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So do you believe that people can change over time?
If they want to, yes, but it has to be their, I want to do this, not I do this for my boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, whatever. They do it for themselves.
Yeah.
So do you believe somebody is just naturally like that? Like they just naturally have desires for multiple people?
For me, I feel attraction is like inevitable, and trust me, if I could choose who to be attracted to, life would be so much easier. Like, I would be like, no, I don't want to be to this one, I don't want to be, and it will be so no drama, less stress, like nothing. But we don't choose who to be attracted to because the chemistry is not something which we can control. So it's like, how I'm going to do this? Like, I don't know, he's my boyfriend's best friend or whatever. So what's the next step, you know. So I don't think people are ready for this, most of the
I
people.
agree. Yeah.
I wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and we started a year and a half ago, and it has been hard to kind of deprogram everything that I've learned along the way because I grew up with very monogamous parents who were. My mom was very jealous, and she was jealous with everybody, not just with my dad, even with us as we got older. And I've really learned those traits a lot. And so I realized, like, wait a minute, I don't want to be this way. I really don't. I don't like being this way. This hasn't helped me in the past. I'm already divorced. I got divorced at the age of 28. So I'm like, I got to change. Like, otherwise, I'm just going to keep having the same relationship with different people and then call myself monogamous. So, because there's a lot of serial monogamy out there where people are like, you're just literally going from relationship to relationship to relationship. And, you're thinking that you're monogamous, but in reality, you are playing a polyamorous game with a lot of rules and restrictions, though. Because, we are taught to have control. Sorry, that's Monty the dog.
He's grunting.
I think we're interrupting his nap time. But yeah, so it's a really interesting point. I've had to do a lot.
When was the like the toughest, or let's say the worst jealousy moment which you had? Doesn't matter if it's like monogamy or polyamory. Like, when did you feel the jealousy like the most powerful?
When I found out that Jorge had cheated on me, and he told me that he had feelings for the girl, like it wasn't just sex, but like that he did care about her and that he did have love for her. I wanted to literally like rip my heart out of my chest and like throw it at his face and never talk to him again. Like I wanted to leave planet Earth so I couldn't have to feel like this intense jealousy that I thought was going to like consume me. Like I would go to my car and I would drive out to like the countryside in Pennsylvania and I would just scream in my car. Like, oh my god, just scream. And yeah, but I survived. I'm still here, you know what I mean? It was just that was tough because I had never been cheated on before. So this was the first time that I had like somebody that I loved say, hey, like I slept with somebody else. I never had that happen to me in my life. So I was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, what does this mean? You know what I mean? Like, is there something wrong with me?
So yeah, I know we live in a relationship context where people are punishing the truth. So did you feel like punishing him for this, for what he said?
A little bit, yeah. I felt more like punishing him because he lied to me and because he kept a secret from me. It not so much because he had sex with her and because he, loved her. And because I understood that. I can understand this. Like, okay, this is a girl that you've known for 6 years, whatever, longer than you've known me. I understand that you have a friendship there. I get it. I have guy friends too that I have slept with and have love for. So I understood that. Like, that's not the part that really like bothered me. It was just the fact that he was doing it behind my back. So to me, it was more of like the respect and the honesty, not so much that he went and had sex and whatever, did whatever. So that was like, okay, if I can get, because a lot of people have a harder time, like my best friend, when I told her that, she's like, I don't understand how you were not upset about the fact that he went and had sex with another girl. And I was like, because sex is sex. Like, sex is the easiest thing that you can do and the easiest thing that you can give somebody. So once you take sex off the pedestal, it will make things a little more easier to understand. At least.
I had my question and I forgot it. Oh yeah. So if somebody cheats on somebody else, when do you think is the right moment for that person to know?
As soon as it happened.
So exactly after?
Yeah, like I wish that after he washed himself up and, you know, did his thing with her. I wish he would have called me and been like, hey, Anjetti, I want to let you know that I just had sex with this person. Like, I cheated. I'm sorry, you know? And if he would have done that, yes, I still would have been upset, but it would have, I would have had so much more respect for him doing that, you know, because I think like a lot of men, and he, you know, this is who he was in the past. This isn't who he is anymore. But a lot of people take the coward way because they're so afraid of the person's reaction and the consequences. They like would rather just hide it and never talk about it than be honest and deal with the repercussions of what they did.
I think they are more scared of the risk of losing the other person.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's, you know, it's those. Like she said, it was somebody that I known for a long time, and I had expressed to her, you know, like that I wanted to, you know, sleep with other women or whatever.
He did.
And she wasn't into it, but like you said, it's like I don't want to lose this person at the same time. So it's like, but I still, you know, I still have these urges. It's like, what do I do? You know, I told her about the urges. She's not with it. I don't want to lose her. She's somebody, you know, that's special to me. So I kind of just still did what I wanted because that was just my natural way of
the instinct. Yes. When was your worst experience with the jealousy?
I would say the first time we went to the swingers club, and she wanted to experience a big black guy for the first time, and you know, I talk about this all the time whenever we have this conversation. I just feel like that's a man's biggest sexual fear.
Talking is nice. Talking is nice, but it's just theory.
Yeah. So we, you know, we met this guy, and while she went to the bathroom, I started talking to him.
Yeah, he did it to himself.
Yeah. So when she came out of the bathroom, you know, she continued the conversation. He intrigued her. And, you know, she asked me about it when we, you know, had some alone time. And I was like, hey, if this is what you want to do, you know, let's do it. So, you know, like having them like just kind of start off. And this is like when we were very like, you know, amateurish. So we didn't really like know what was going to trigger each other.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we didn't really know like, you know, if we should start with each other or whatever. We were just kind of like just
winging we were winging it.
With some alcohol in our system, you know? So...
and some strangers.
Yeah, and some strangers.
And some like strip club that like, I'm not strip club, at swingers club that I wish like people all knew what the DeCarlo's was, but like DeCarlo's is this like place in the hood where it's like a bar where like it's in the hood and it's not like the nicest bar and not the nicest people go. So he was like, yo, that's like the DeCarlo's of swingers clubs.
Yeah, so but anyways, they kind of did their thing, and she was sucking his dick, and you know, she was like riding him, and I guess she like bent over and like wanted me to get involved too, and I was already kind of like really uncomfortable.
I'm sorry.
You know, but I wasn't able to get an erection, you know, but like she really wanted me to like, she really wanted to have a threesome with two guys. This is what we were like trying to do. I just wasn't there, like mentally and emotionally, you know. And I don't know if it was, you know, 100% jealousy along with other feelings too, you know. But you know, I guess that was just you know the most overwhelming feeling I ever experienced, you know, in that kind of scenario. So,
did you feel like inferior or something?
I wasn't mad. I was more embarrassed than anything. I was like really embarrassed and just like.
No, she said inferior.
Inferior?
Yeah, it's like you feel like you're like smaller than the other person, not like in everything, like personality, everything. Like, did you feel like?
No, definitely.
Okay. I feel like this. Some people have this inferior feeling. I think especially at the beginning, because you feel you're small, and it's like I think it's like a man thing. I don't know if the girls have the same. I don't usually feel like threatened by girls. I don't feel like. I never felt this.
I wouldn't say I feel threatened by girls because like I'll look at a girl and I'll be like, oh my god, like I wish I had her body. You know what I mean?
It's hot.
Like,
yeah.
Like yeah. I think it's easier for girls because we have vaginas who's judging the size of vaginas? You know what I mean? But it's become a thing that men get judged by the size of their penis. So, I mean, yeah, it's a little different for women just because of our anatomy. But, like, yeah, I'm not someone who. There's been times where, like, I'll look at another girl's body and be like, oh man, I wish I looked like that, you know? But I don't try to, like, I don't feel like I'm inferior or anything like that. But I think it would be different if we had penises. And you know that you're being judged by the size of your penis. That's tougher. So.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. But no, I know that was tough for him. The ride home, he was upset. And I felt so bad. I felt so bad for him. Because I didn't even finish with the guy, by the way. Like because like once I saw his energy and like the look on his face, and like, you know, he wasn't getting hard, I was like, you know what, let me just step off this ride and focus on my man right now, because
it's very nice from you. It's very nice what you did.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just knew that, like, I'm like, yeah, it's over. It's not gonna happen. And like for me, it's not worth. This isn't worth like my man not feeling good right now. You know. So we did had a difficult talk, fight.
It was a lot going on.
One of our many fights of like opening up our relationship. Us opening up our relationship was kind of like a boot camp that we didn't know
how it will go.
Like, we kicked each other's ass. Like, the open relationship has kicked our ass. But you know what? Now we're kicking ass back. So, yeah. Like, thanks. Tonight we're going to Field in Washington, D.C. And from the Field app, the creators, they're hosting this big event. And they said they have 1,000 people that RSVP'd. And it's at a hotel. But they only have capacity for 200. So we don't know what to expect. We're going to go, and we figured it's going to make really good content for the podcast. And we've been kind of like you and your boyfriend, just laying low, just kind of staying home and talking, and then talking some more. So I think it'll be fun to kind of go out and see what these people are going to look like and what this event is going to have, because they said they're going to do like an interactive dating app experience. So we'll like have games and stuff, and sex educators and sex therapists. So we'll see.
Sounds fun. Is it only one day?
Yeah, it's only today, randomly on a Tuesday. You know, but they did one in New York, and they're doing one in Austin, Texas. So, and I guess they did one in Washington, D.C. But I'm sure they'll have more events for next year as well.
You know, I went to... do you know Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
So I went to his conference in November, and I was just there. He was asking me about my life and, you know, what you want for your future, like how do you envision your business. Now looking there, and I was like, man, this room is like hundreds of thousands of people. What if in few years these hundreds of thousands of people will be like people in open relationships, and I will organize this this event, you know? So I feel like it's very tricky, especially when you do it offline, because haters can come there and they will just ruin everything. But if you have the right backup, you will not let them do that. So I was imagining this. I was like, maybe this is something doable. I would love to attend one. And I would love to organize one, especially one online. So maybe someday we can do something about this. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, sign me up. Like, I would love to see a stadium of like open-minded LGBTQ plus people. You know what I mean? It would just be so amazing.
That's so nice. Like, I think that's my ultimate goal in this life, like to gather people together for a purpose. So yeah.
And we could have like conferences and like shows and talks. Oh my God, it would be like a whole.
And dances, people will dance, we will wake up. That would be nice. After party, we'll figure it out. So yeah.
Right.
It'll happen. It'll happen. I really believe that, this is just going to keep growing because I didn't think that a year ago we would have this many people following us and watching us and this many people that we're talking to. Like, because when Jorge and I started, I only knew one other couple and they were in an open marriage. And that's how I got to hear it from, like you said, someone who was real, a real person who was actually experiencing it. And I was considering this person, this was a friend of mine, and she was telling me, like, yeah, me and my husband are in an open marriage. And I was like, psh, like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're cool with him having sex with other girls? And she's like, oh yeah. And she's like, it's fine. Like, I have sex with them too. And I was like, you have sex with them too? That's crazy. My mind was blown. So I remember that same day I went and I Googled like how to have an open relationship. And that was it.
What did you find? Did you find something useful?
So, God, I found a lot of things, and not all of it was useful. I found some good books like, Ethical Slut. I found some cool communities on Facebook. I joined them, the Facebook groups. On YouTube, we found a couple couples, but nobody really I felt that I could relate to. And this is why we started our podcast. So when we were looking for our education and research, there was a lot that we came across, but it was a lot of stuff that was like, I'm like, that's not us. That's not, because it was like swingers, you know what I mean? And it was like, oh, but we're only swingers and we're only having sex here. And I was like, I don't know, like if I want to just be a swinger and swap with other couples. And it was like, oh, we're in a throuple, like, but we're together, one guy, two girls. And I was like, I don't know about that. Like, and then there was like, oh, well, we're an asexual marriage couple. So we don't have sex with each other, but we have sex with other people. And I'm like, what? No. So I'm like, there's no representation for us. Like there was not a lot of like brown Latinos, you know what I mean, that are doing this. So I'm like, babe, and he, we came up with the idea together. Like, we have to do this. We have to start a podcast.
Do you plan to talk in Spanish as well?
Huh?
Do you plan to talk in Spanish, like to
Yo quisiera hablar en español, pero este muchacho no habla español.
Oh, okay, that's right. No, I think because you can approach that niche of Spanish people who would like to be open. I don't know who are they, because I never met anybody in my life except you, which is open enough to move the relationship forward and so on. But I'm sure there are who are trapped in some relationships and they need some guidance.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh no, trust me, they are out there, because there isn't a one Latino couple that I haven't met that hasn't cheated on each other. They just don't know. They just, and it's so not in our. Huh?
They exist.
Oh yeah, they definitely exist. They definitely exist. It's just not. I think Latino women feel like they have an image to uphold, and a lot of it has to do with how much can you control and manipulate your man.
Yes.
And it's like, as long as you can keep your man on a short leash and you have him really good manipulated and you have him really well controlled and trained, then as a woman, you're doing great. But like, as a Latina, there's this it's called toxica culture, where it's like, being Latina and having and being like this crazy, jealous, like insecure, psychomania, like it's this thing that like we've subscribed to, and I'm like, this isn't cute. Why are we doing this? And I've heard it like, oh my God, like if your man is liking other girls' photos on Instagram, that's disrespectful. If your man is talking to other girls, he doesn't really love you, and it's like, shut up, so. I'm here as like maybe the first Latina that has got the ovaries to come out and be like, yeah, so my man is having sex with other women. Do you want to be one of them? If not, shut up and move it along. So, yeah, it's kind of powerful in a way, you know what I mean? Because I do feel like a lot of girls wish that they had more security in themselves, but that's really what it comes down to.
I never understood, for example, if I like a guy and then he has a girlfriend and I talk to the guy, Like, why the girlfriend comes to me? I have no relationship with the girlfriend. Like, why are you coming to me? Go to him if something bothers you. We don't have any agreements together. So these things like happen so many times. Like they just come, the girls, and I'm like, don't talk to me, talk to him. Like I don't owe you anything. Like just go to him and discuss with him. I also 2 summers ago, I was working with a guy and we had so nice conversations in like Instagram and we were sharing like a lot of books and a lot. And once his wife wrote me in Instagram, hey, if you ever write you my man again, you will have to deal with me. And I'm like, oh my god, is this a threat? I don't do well with threats. She was like, don't write him ever again, okay? Because you're gaslighting him. And I'm like, I'm not gaslighting him. Trust me.
Oh my god.
But go to him because we don't owe each other anything. Go to him and talk to him. Like, don't approach me with these things. He's not, no. You talk to him. That's it.
Yeah.
But I think, why this happens, you cannot hate and love somebody at the same time, like very, very strongly. So you choose to love him and then you choose to hate somebody else. So that's why the hate usually goes to somebody else. Because she cannot hate and love him at the same time. I mean, she can, but it's not very, like, what's happening there. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really like such a good point because it's true. Like, I've experienced that as well. You know what I mean? Where it's like you do also start to dislike the other people that have nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? These people didn't do anything to you, but now it's like we see them as a threat, and that's really all it is. And a lot of women have been taught to be territorial. We're like, no, like, go slash his tires, go fight. I'm gonna fight some girl, like, come at me, blah 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 blah. And it's like, why are we doing this? Like, this isn't. You know how many other things we could get done instead of focusing on our men, instead of focusing on like, who are you talking to? Like, what are you doing? Who do you like? Like, I've wasted so many days of my life being stressed out about what a man is doing on his phone.
Mhm.
Like that, I lost days, maybe weeks. So I just feel like it's time to really start to talk to women too about like, why are you choosing this life? And especially if you don't trust him, why are you with him? And I've had to work so hard on getting the trust back between me and Jorge because that was the hardest part. Like I said, for me, it wasn't about the sex with the other person that I could handle. It was like, great, can I trust you with my heart again? You know what I mean? And we have worked through a lot, and he's been so patient with me because of the grief that I went through as well. And like, he's been so, I mean, honestly, like a lot of times I'm like, why are you even here? Like, why are you still putting up with me? But I don't know, it just works. He's my best friend. That's really what it comes down to.
It's nice. What means you said you trust each other now? Like, what means distrust for you? Like, what means to trust each other?
For me, I guess trusting that he's not going to intentionally try to sabotage what we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like now he knows, like, okay, I know that if I have an interest in another woman or I have gone and have sex with another woman, like I need to let her know. Like now there can't be no secrets like between us. I know that he has my best interest at heart and he is going to do whatever he can in his power and control to just show up as himself, and that will include like being vulnerable and being honest because that's what I need and what we need in order for this relationship to succeed. If you start doing what you were doing in the past where it's like keeping things from me, lying, keeping secrets, hiding texts, like you're just gonna be you're just gonna hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
If you're okay with hurting us again, hurting me again, then that there's no trust there. You know what I mean? So I just think it's like trusting that I'm safe here. That's what trust means to me.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's just that, like knowing that your person is not going to try to, hurt you anymore and is telling you what everything that it is that needs to be known, knowing where it is that like we are mentally, emotionally, when it is that when we have desires, and urge to tell each other. You know, I feel like, when I first cheated, it was a really difficult situation because it was somebody that I known for 6 years. But now, that I don't really have any of those long term relationships with anybody, it's so much easier to really just nip it in the butt when I first meet somebody. And when you have that kind of communication with somebody, it really just makes life so much more effortless, and it's complicated when you can just be like, hey, right away, like, hey, I met somebody today. I think they're pretty interesting, just to let you know.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Like, I'm like, okay, like, tell me about it. But he knows that I have really bad anxiety. And so, like, and I always tell him, like, Jorge, women will always find shit out. There's no point in trying to, like, hide something from an intuitive woman like myself. There's just no point. So I'd rather hear it from you, whatever the fuck it is, than, have to find out for myself.
I know we were talking when you did this live on Instagram. We were talking about how hiding stuff, or like how cheating is full of adrenaline. That you have a little bit of satisfaction in that. It's like, oh my god, she doesn't know. It's awesome. But in my experience, these counterfire so many times, because I was like, oh my god, I will like these two guys who are best friends, and I will whatever do with both, and then nobody will know until they know, and then this shit goes to you. So I was like, you know what, I would just be honest, like I will not do this. It's very exciting, but it's just it can eat you out if you so it's like, no.
I love the way that you worded that, because I've expressed that, feeling to her, but I never really articulated it the way that you just did. And that's exactly what I was feeling. I felt that adrenaline when it was happening, and the excitement of, doing something that nobody knew about. And that's kind of like that, like that satisfaction and just like having a secret, that nobody else knows. It's like,
because we are used with this. We are used to have these secrets, and like it's something which I saw in my parents as well, because my mom was cheating on my father. My father didn't know, and I knew, so I was like, okay, I guess it's normal. I mean, what can I say? It's like, if my parents do it, it means that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's been that subconscious value of having a secret ever since like you're a kid. When your parents tell you like, that's our little secret.
Don't tell to you. Yeah.
So like, I'm special because I know something that nobody else knows.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that's what people do when they think they don't have any other choice. So yes.
Yeah. So what is some advice that you would normally give to somebody that is experiencing jealousy in a relationship?
I would recommend them to feel it. Like, you feel it's coming, you feel it somewhere, and then to just see how it develops, and then just observe it. Like, you feel it somewhere here, and then it goes, and then your body starts being heated, and your head hurts, and I like seeing that or observing that, like as a meditation. I feel it helps, because you can see how it can grow so fast if you let it, and then it can be just diminished if you just observe it, and just because without your brain, the jealousy cannot grow. So if your brain is focusing on it, it will never grow that much. And then I would advise I would ask people to describe it, if it has a shape or a form or a smell or a color, like how it is. How would you define it? Is it the devil? Is it the whatever? So I feel like if we give it a little bit of shape or a form, we can work with it properly. Then I don't know where it is, I don't know where I feel it, I just feel it. Like, okay, let's see, where do you feel it? That's the first step, and then see how people will react or how they will take it, and then from there you can work like easier with it. But first you need to know who are you dealing with. So
okay. Yeah, that's really good. So so for me, I feel like jealousy never really goes away. It's just I deal with it better. Is that how you would kind of say it as well?
Something like that, yes. And you just get friends with it, and that's it. It's like, hi, you're here, okay, I'm here as well. So how we're going to do this? Okay,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I think this, but I don't think you're right. Oh, you know, like, I know it sounds stupid, but then you have to be friends with it, because otherwise you're her enemy or something. If it's a she, I don't know, maybe it's non-binary, gender fluid.
It's funny that we're like talking about if she's a she and what does jealousy look like, because so last year I had a kind of a tough summer. It was our first summer having an open relationship, and at the end of the summer, Jorge met a girl in Puerto Rico. We didn't see each other for like over a month. Maybe I think it was like 6 weeks or something like that. And at the end of the summer, he came home, and I was still kind of dealing with my jealousy because he spent a whole weekend with this person. So I went to a job of mine, and I went to go take a nap in my car at my lunch break, and I had a lucid dream. And in the dream, I woke up and I'm in my car, and there's this person who's like sitting in my passenger side behind, and I'm like, hello, and she's like, hi. I'm like, who are you? And she said, I'm jealousy. And she was like, you need to look at me. And it was like me, like it was me talking to me, but she was saying I'm jealousy, and I'm like trying to like look at her, but I can't. And she's like, you need to acknowledge me. And then like I just woke up from that. Like that was all she said. And I remember thinking to myself, like, holy shit, like jealousy wants to be my friend. Like and it's true. Like jealousy is an emotion that really wants to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
It really wants to be heard. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to kind of like understand it and get a handle on it.
Mm-hmm. Like a little sister, to teach stuff.
Huh?
It's like a little sister which you need to teach stuff because she doesn't know much. So you're like, okay, I will be your guide, but just step by step. Don't kill me, okay?
Right.
Don't make me do stuff. Let's.
No, facts, definitely. So yeah, it's been a journey because people are like, oh, I can never have an open relationship because I'm too jealous, and I would say the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I could do that. I'm so jealous, and I realize you have to change the way you see yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now really trying to see myself as like, no, I'm not a jealous person, or I'll say to myself, I can be a jealous person, but I can control it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't find out about Jorge's jealousy until like 2 years into our relationship. Maybe like it was when we opened it, and he finally told me he was jealous. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? You're jealous? Like I never noticed. Like you never act. And he said it's because I don't act on it. Like I don't let my jealousy emotions control me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question, right? So what if there was a scenario where there's two people in a relationship, they're in a monogamous relationship, let's say for 5 years, and somebody comes across the information of polyamory and they start doing some research. They bring it up to their partner, and their partner doesn't want anything to do with it. What do you think that person should do in that position?
I was one of that person. I can relate to that person a little bit because I felt so strong connection to somebody at work. So I was like, okay, I either do something about it or it will kill me, and I need to tell my boyfriend. So I told him, and he was very chill. Like he was just hanging the clothes on the whatever, and I was like, I need to tell you something. I felt like kissing somebody. I didn't, but I just felt it, and then he was like, he was so chill. I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, he asked me, is it a desire or is it a need? And I said, give me 20 minutes to think about this because I have no idea. And then I realized it's not a need because I don't need to kiss somebody. It's just a desire. It would be nice to. And then he said, then that's it. It's a desire. Then we don't have to talk about it. And then I was like, okay. And then the next day I was like, okay, we need to talk about it more because I don't think this is where the conversation stops. So I pushed, like, I feel like for 1 month when I pushed, and it was a lot of crying because I felt like if I don't open this, it will not, the relationship will end because I'm not planning to cheat on him. So he pushed, I pushed a lot the conversation, and then we came to some agreements. And that was it. And then I was like, okay, this is how it is. It's happening. Um, but he was okay with it. He was not like excited about it. And this is something which I feel like affected us after, because he's okay with it, but it's not like, oh, finally I couldn't wait for somebody to come to tell me this. He was like more like, okay, let's see how this goes. So
Right.
if he has to talk about this, he would not talk it. He would not talk about this. He doesn't feel that comfortable to share with the world, or like whenever I post something, he's a little bit scared. He's like, oh my god, what are you posting? Like, what are you? So, but for me, it's like I have to get this out of me. Like if I don't do it now, I don't know when I will do it. Like I need to tell the world what I feel, and maybe, I mean, I'm sure some people will connect with what I'm saying, and they will come to the community and so on. So I would totally advise this person to push it and to see exactly what will happen. Like worst case scenarios, best case scenarios, to see exactly what will happen if she's going to do something with somebody, if not, or just to see some scenarios how this will go, if something will happen or not. So the other person knows that the breakup can be an option if they don't agree on something.
Yeah. So do you feel like I do feel like sometimes, if you're having those urges and you're having those desires and, you know, uh, like he said, is it a desire or a need? It might not be a need right now, but that desire can start to feel like a need
Mm-hmm.
after it's presented itself, time and time again, especially if you're around that person on a consistent basis, you know? So, and that's why, it's really great that you brought it up right away, which is why I was saying to her, it's great that, I can just bring things up right away
Mm-hmm.
before it really goes to that point, because we've already established, like, hey, I let you know that this was starting up already,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But if, I just feel like if you're going to continue to have desires for other people, let's say even you quit that job, who's to say you don't have desire for somebody else at the next job?
Mm-hmm.
you know?
You never know.
Whatever the case is. So you never really know what it is that you're gonna want. Um, but it's really complicated because it's like I said from the beginning, when I first cheated, you still don't want to lose that person that you do see special and you do see valuable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a tug of war situation that somebody can really be in, and it's so tough just because of how we are originally programmed. And what society, kind of like tells what's right and what's wrong and what's ideal, and even on social media, people who are trying to talk about these things are not getting as much exposure as people talking about other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like people talking about
one of these days they're gonna like smack me in the head.
I know where you're at. Yeah,
it was close.
So it's just really, it's really interesting how it is really tough for somebody to want to open up, because like there's so many. I just feel like there's so many reasons that always present themselves to not open up. Like, don't do it. Like, that's it's not gonna. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. Nobody's gonna talk to you anymore. You're gonna lose that person. There's just so many reasons, to not do it, and it just keeps us locked into this mentality to where we're not allowed to do anything else besides just.
I like to say that the normality is decided by the majority, because usually whenever it's like more than 50% people doing something, that's the normal, and whatever
Right.
it's under 40% is like not normal. Like, you cannot do this, it's not normal. Who defines normal? The majority. That's why the
Exactly.
society is how it is. So
Yeah.
for me, I feel like as long as you don't hurt anybody on purpose, like, you can do whatever the hell you want, like with whoever the hell you want. Like, just don't hurt somebody on purpose. That's it.
Mhm. So now we talked about how we were raised and how the world has kind of came up to this point. Do you have children yourself?
No.
Do you plan on having children in the future?
I haven't answered that question yet. I decided to not get married. That's one of the things which I feel like it will give me enough freedom to do whatever I want, without any law involved. And if I want to have kids, I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I wake up and I'm like, oh, how can I imagine myself without 3 kids? And then the next day is like, how much I will be able to travel with 3 kids. So, like, I have my limitations. but I don't know.
Yeah. I think as a mom, me speaking as a mom, I would definitely suggest that if you are hesitant about having kids, you should really like listen to that hesitation, because I feel like I was really hesitant to have kids, and then I got married, and then I got pregnant, and here we are. Um, and like I always say, like I don't regret having my daughter. My daughter is my life force. However, the choice of motherhood, I regret it. Like how hard motherhood is. No, we don't speak about that enough. And so, I feel like some women are put on this earth to definitely be moms. Definitely moms. Others, there's probably a reason why you shouldn't be a mom, and that's okay. You're meant to do other things, you know? So, yeah, if you have hesitations about it, that is totally normal. Don't feel like you have to have kids and that your life is not going to be complete unless you have kids, because the reality is like your life will be complete with or without children. So,
Yeah, I don't
So,
know it. Yeah.
what is your perspective on children growing up in a polyamorous household?
The most scared, like my biggest fear about this is that those kids will be bullied at school. So, for example, if they would know, because without wanting, they will know she has 3 moms, right? Or 4 fathers. Like they will know about this because it's not like we can hide it. But I feel like those kids, if they are not raised in a community like mine did with only polyamorous people, I feel that that kid will be a little bit bullied. So for me, I don't want to give that. I was bullied as well, so I don't want to give. But for my reasons, not for my parents' reasons. But I don't want to put my kid in a context which can be bullied. That's one of the fears why I might not want to have kids in the future, unless it's like. I found some village in Portugal. It's called Tamera or something like that, where everybody's like polyamorous, and then everybody's vegetarian. It's like they are self sustainable. So for me, I was like, okay, that sounds amazing. Like how we're going to do this, because it's different when you don't expose your kid to other mindsets. But again, like my kid will be in a bubble then, so I don't agree with that as well. I want him to feel how is the society and how mean can people be. But then, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to put traumas in my kids? We will traumatize them anyway, but how? It's a little bit. I don't have questions answered for this.
Neither do I. And like I said, I'm a mom, so I'm still like myself thinking like, oh my god, how am I gonna go about this? Because
Do you
right now,
see? Do you okay? Say what you want to say, and then I wanted to see. Do you see yourself in this kind of polyamorous community, raising kids and so on?
So she just turned 9. So I'm realizing like, okay, it's time to really start having more like deeper conversations slowly. You know what I mean? Because she still has her innocence, and I'm not ready to like take that away yet. However, I'd rather always hear things from us than like from other kids and people that don't know what they're talking about. As far as, do I see myself living in a polyamorous community? Absolutely. Like I think in my dream life, I think if I was to really heal all my wounds and traumas and get a really good handle on my triggers and jealousy, I think I would thrive in a polyamorous community. It would be nice to also have my daughter grow up in that as well, except I don't think her dad would be for it. Like, so I co-parent, so I have to also respect like how her dad, wishes. But we do realize that once she's like 16 and above, she's pretty much like can make her own decisions. And I definitely will introduce her to this life because I wish I would have known about it.
Yeah,
And I don't think it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now, her child is not my child. I don't have any children myself. So when it comes to like parenting her child, that's her and, the child's father's decision. I don't really like kind of intervene. I kind of just go with the flow. But my perspective on, you know, what a child should know, I feel like me personally, I would kind of like, wait until they ask questions, or at least wait until I see them, having some type of concern or comments or anything into some kind of certain subject, and then kind of
Mm-hmm.
educate them from there. I just feel like I would educate them on a more open, loving lifestyle, like love whoever it is that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But that just my perspective. I don't know at what age I would do that at. Like I said, it would kind of just be dependent on the kid, I guess, because some are more mature than others.
When I was a kid, I knew something is happening in my family, but I never asked. So maybe there are kids who don't ask. They know or they feel or they understand some things, but they don't ask because they're afraid of or whatever. But most of the times they know more than we think they do. That's what
Yeah.
I feel, because I knew a lot what was going on, and everybody was like, when my parents broke up and when I was 12, everybody was like, oh my God, you don't understand now, but you will understand. Oh, I understand everything. Just I want peace and quiet in the house. I don't want them to fight. Like, that's what I want. Like, and they were like, why? Okay, sorry. Like, we didn't know, I know, because I was there, So I feel like some kids feel more or they know more than we think they do.
Yeah. Especially girls. I'm always gonna say, like, girls are just way more in tune. Like, girls, me, because I was the same way. My parents had a really toxic marriage, and I was like, this can't be right. Like, is this really, you know what I mean? I had, like you, I noticed a lot of things, and I had a lot of questions, but I was not about to ask my parents because I probably would have gotten slapped in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I will have to
Definitely.
leave you guys because my battery is like dying.
Oh, no, yeah,
Also,
we have to
you
get
guys have to go.
12:30, and
Yeah.
I did say 12:30. But Cricket, thanks so much for being on here with us. This has been great. I really enjoyed this conversation. Like I said, this is the first of many, and yeah, we really appreciate your time, and we
Thank you as
will
well.
hear this soon. So
Definitely.
be out there.
Have fun
Have a
tonight.
good one.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Bye.
Much
Cheers.
love.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Woo.